Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this right here, this is called Tali. Now, Tali is an ancient game. It is over 1,000 years old and is known by a lot of different names. Also, like, Knucklebones. As a matter of fact, like, I can remember, like, a lot of my early D&D purchased modules, they would, like, reference, like, oh, the hobgoblins are playing Knucklebones on a table off in the corner, that sort of thing. So, and I never really knew what it was, and I never thought to, like, Google it, later on in life when I had the option for doing that. But Jason Williams, the guy who created Sword and Sails, a really, really good, fantastic, historical, like, negotiation war game or whatever, has decided to kind of modernize Tali and create a game with these really, really cool dice that are shaped like Knucklebones. I think these are awesome. But the game is really straightforward. It is sort of a gambling game, but not, I guess you could gamble for real, but mostly what it is you're trying to roll some dice, you're trying to get or Knucklebones, I should say, and you're trying to get the best possible score, while also, like, there's all these old interpretations of what the numbers used to represent, like vultures and eagles and dogs and things like that. Along the way, you're going to have some different player powers that, you're going to player cards, going to have like a ancient person on there, and they're going to have some powers that are going to affect the game, and you're just going to play this as kind of a fun, loose, like fast game that you can play. I hesitate to call this a filler, so to speak, but I do consider this to be one of those games that you play to, like, pass the time, over lunch, that sort of thing. So anyway, let me show you how Tali is played, and then we'll come back here and I'll give you some final thoughts and also some, like, interesting tidbits I've learned about that historical game. Alright, so let's learn how to play Tali, the game that's like 1,000 years old, which is kind of cool, right? I'm going to be showing you how this game is played, and like 1,000 years ago, people were playing this with real, like, sheep or goat knucklebones, as opposed to these cool dice that I'm going to be showing you here in just a little bit. I try not to let my mind wander too much and think of, what are people 1,000 years from now going to think of what we're doing, but anyway, that's another story for another time. Let's show you how this game is played. This is a gambling game. Each person is going to start with the same amount of coinage. The coinage actually comes from the game Sword and Sails, which you can kind of see the bag that I got my game in over there. I've done a review of Sword and Sails. It is a really, really good kind of epic war game that was created by the same designer of this. And you get these really cool metal coins with it, which you get a gold, copper, and silver, as you can see. This game is played over a series of rounds. To begin the game, what's going to happen is that each person is going to take one of their gold coins, and they're going to put it off to the side. This is what people are going to be playing for. They're going to be trying to claim this. You put those, I'm just putting them in a little cup there, put them off to the side. And then each person's going to get the chance to roll these dice. Depending upon what they roll, the numbers are going to tell them what exactly they're supposed to do. These are located on these character cards. I'll talk about these character cards after I show you how rolling the dice works here in just a little bit. The character cards free up some different variable player powers, which definitely makes this game really fun as far as the different things that you can do, and you can mess with the results and what have you. But I'll talk about those here in just a little bit. So what happens is you're going to take these dice, and as you can see, there are these different Roman numerals on each side. What you really want, what you want more than anything, is on these 4 dice to get one of each possible number, because if you do that, that is what's called getting a Venus. It is the winning roll of the game. You take whatever ante is in the pot in the middle, and you also get what's in this cup. As far as the starting money goes, you can start with whatever you want, but the whole point is that you're trying to make everybody else lose their money, and you're trying to take their money. So beginning the game, each person will put in a copper piece as an ante, and you can ramp that up later if you like. No big deal. And each person, and this isn't a game where you roll the dice, and then, like, normally, because there are special powers that you're going to get through these cards, but this isn't one of those things, roll the dice, keep one, roll the dice again. A lot of times you're just going to roll these dice once, and then, what happens is going to happen. So, we're going to roll the dice, see what we get here. Just move that off to the side a little bit. And that is a horrible roll. I'm going to tell you why. Because you want at least one of these. You want to roll one of these. The reason why you want to roll one of those is because that is how you get a score. Normally, like, we would go around the table. Each person is going to roll the dice, and you're going to total up your total score of the dice that you scored. But if you don't get one of these, this little Roman numeral 6 here, you don't get anything. You don't get a score. You don't get any sort of result. And, I mean, fortunately, I didn't roll all threes, because here, I'm going to show you the bottom, because each bottom of each one of these player cards, there's a thing. It's like all threes would be put a silver into the round pot, like you don't get a score, which kind of stinks, but what it is I just get a no score result right here, and so no score rolled, I pass the dice, and we go on to the next person. So let's roll and see, let's just roll for this person, see what happens, and we're going to get, they rolled even worse. Do you know why? Because not only did they not score, they got these. Those are called dogs. And with dogs, you have to take, for every dog you roll, you have to take coppers and you have to put them into the middle. So you lose more money and you're putting them in. Now you can still win that back, right? If like you would somehow, in later rounds, like, you know, like people would put more money in, but unfortunately, you have to give up your money in that case. So here we go. We're going to roll for a person across the table. Finally, we have a score. Woo, score. So the neat thing here is if only they had rolled a 1, they would have scored that Venus. But in this case, this is a scoring roll. It is called a Senio right there. And then so we're going to then score the points. We can have a 6, and then we have 2 3s, so 12, and then we have a 4, and so we would have a 16 total score. So that's a pretty good roll, probably going to win. So let's go ahead and roll and see what we get here. And oh man, the last person really does bad, and they're going to go ahead and they're going to be tossing in 3 of those dogs into those. And so now we collect the round, and this is the round pot. This person is going to claim all of those, and now you're going to ante again, and you're going to play again. And now remember, nobody rolled Venus, so nobody has scored any of this. Now there are some different results that you can get. If you roll all of those, it's considered an eagle. You get to take a silver from the round pot. That's the pot that's in the middle. And you can do exchanges, because like 5 silver equals a copper, so you can take more money out if that's the case. That's a result that we didn't get. I didn't see show you. But both the vulture and these are both vultures. If you roll like all 4s or all 3s, then you have to go ahead and put silver into the pot. So those are the results. Now you then once again everybody's going to put an ante in, as I said. You're going to roll the bones again, and you're going to just keep playing. All right. So enough about just how the game is played. You know, as far as the different like rolling dice and the different results. Now I just want to talk to you a little bit about these different player cards. So you can hand these out randomly. You can draft them. You can do however you want to hand these out. Now these are like historical figures from 1000 AD. And they have different abilities. So here we have Imperial Faustus. If he spends 2 copper, he can pray to Venus once per round and choose to either reroll all or one of his bones. Faustus can also choose to reroll another player's single bone. Faustus can only choose to reroll his own or another player, but not both in a single round. Faustus can also set a price for his command of bones for other players. So here we have like a total interaction thing where somebody's like, let me re-roll a bone. I don't know, you better give me 3 copper or I'm not going to. Or they can just say, you know, I'm going to re-roll it, ha ha ha. And they're going to, you know, make sure that they, they can screw up somebody's roll. So, I mean, these are just things, and I'm not going to show you all these. There's a bunch of them here, but here we have Agnes can pass his losses up to others. When she rolls dogs or vultures, she can choose other players to pay the costs. Agnes will choose which players will pay. A vulture must be divided among 2 or more players. In the case of all dogs, she must divide it across the remaining players. So, you know, once again, you know, like she kind of, you know, plays with house money a little bit. Now, she can still lose money, obviously, because of the fact that you know, she's anteing and she's not winning. But you have different ways that, you know, the game is going to be different for that particular person. And a lot of these abilities, like, kind of, like, you know, are, you know, set up against each other, and, you know, they will counteract each other as well. So, depending upon the players that are playing, and I'll just show one more time. Here we have Imperial Morris Glycus, or Glick, I probably am mispronouncing a lot of these. Morris' ability to change his bad luck to good luck. When he rolls dogs, He can take a copper from the pot for each instead of putting it into the pot. If Morris rolls all dogs, he can take a gold. If there is less than 25 in the pot, then Morris can take the gold from the game pot or bank if either pot is too small. This is the same when he rolls vultures, and so on and so forth. So, once again, different players, different rules, different abilities. This isn't obviously the most strategic or most long and tactical game if it is, but this is definitely a game that I've thrown into my game bag, bring it to game night, and this is that quick little fun dirty game that you're going to play either before a bigger game or after one, and you're going to have a lot of fun while doing it. But let me talk a little bit about that in my final thoughts, and I'll give you some more thoughts about kind of the history of the game. All right, so there you go. That is Tali. No, this is definitely just a game that is just fun to play. And this is definitely a game that, you remember that game like Pass the Pigs? That kind of thing where like the people at the table would be engaged and having different conversations and having other things going on at the same time as that game was being played. And this is one of those things where that's the type of game it is. Now, as I said, I would throw this into my game bag, and I would when I was going to game nights at people's houses or my local game store, and this was something I would just drag out, and as we were waiting for person X to get done with whatever game they were playing so they could get over to our table, and we'd have our fourth person for like a larger game, say like Cosmic Encounter or something, who knows. And but it was a good fun way to pass the time. People are sitting there, they're having their sodas, they're having their snacks, because one thing, snacks, I got, I don't care if you have Cheetos with this game, because of the fact that I got metal coins, and I got these like plastic, knuckle bone shaped dice. You're not going to harm that with water or your sodas or what have you. So we're there, we're passing the time, we're talking about video games, we're talking about movies, we're talking about TV shows, having those inane discussions that we always have on gaming nights. And we don't have to tax our brains with what is going on at the table. But it is still the reason why we're at the table. We're watching people roll these onto the table. And trust me, I have the nice mat here. These sound so cool bouncing off a table, like the clattering noise they make. I really do like it. We're watching people roll the dice. We're kind of yelling and cheering and cursing when people roll well, that sort of thing. And it's just flat out fun. It isn't ever going to be the most serious game ever. It isn't ever going to be the most strategic game ever. But with all the cool different abilities that you have, with all these different ancient personas, and all of just the quick and fast and active way the game is played, I guarantee you that if you are looking for that game that fills up that time, something to enjoy your family and friends while you are engaging them socially, then I urge you to pick this game up, because I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Plus, like I said, it is really cool to think that you're playing a version of a game that was played 1,000 years ago. Whether it was Tali or Knucklebones, or I think there was they're also used as jacks, bouncing the ball, pick up the jacks. They were also used as that. So just when you think about your actions at that table right there, historically are bridging that gap between you and some Roman citizens 1,000 years ago, passing the time on a summer day and enjoying their friends and enjoying what they're doing in a social and cool little atmosphere. And I dig that. As I'm getting older, I'm getting that more I don't know if it's I hate to say wisdom, because I don't consider myself very wise, but I do find myself being very retrospective in my life and looking back and kind of enjoying those connections that we never seem to break and we never seem to lose with people that we never ever met that are in our past, but we still are connected in some way. But anyway, enough philosophy. Check out the game. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. And if you have any questions about this game, or you want to comment about Tali and the kind of ancient game that it is, please do so, and I'll be happy to respond or talk or whatever it is as far as that is concerned. Until next time, I'm the Undead Viking. I'm telling you guys and you girls to have one heck of an awesome day, alright? Go out. Have a great time. Talk to you later.